100%. As we've enhanced our contact tracing capacity, we're in contact with individuals on a daily basis.
The government is taking strides now and looking at ways to repurpose, redirect, and look inward to doing things.
Local numbers climb, more islands are being impacted by the virus. Good morning, everyone. I'm LaDawn Davis, and this is the Morning Edition. The confirmed COVID-19 figures are just under the 1,000 mark at 989, with 44 new cases on Tuesday. Out of that number, New Providence saw 26 additional cases, and Grand Bahama 10. Inagua also recorded its first COVID-19 case, as Abaco saw a slight increase in numbers. Currently, though, 30 patients are hospitalized due to COVID-19 here in the Bahamas. The Prime Minister and his deputy in quarantine this morning. The Cabinet Office confirming that Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Dr. Hubert Minnis, and Minister of Finance, Deputy Prime Minister, the Honorable Peter Turnquest, have voluntarily entered self-quarantine due to possible exposure of COVID-19 at the Cecil Wallace Whitfield Center in Cable Beach. The center has been closed for cleaning and sanitization. The Ministry of Health's surveillance unit has also initiated contact tracing to determine the level of exposure to employees and visitors to the center. The Prime Minister spoke exclusively with our news team about the matter.
I was told that an individual in the office, not my immediate vicinity, but in the complex, tested positive. And staff members may have communicated with that person and subsequently entered my office. And therefore, out of abundant precaution, they just asked me to quarantine until further notice. But I feel 100% fit well, and I followed doctor's orders, came home, and since I was unable to exercise, I've just completed coming off a treadmill, ensuring that I stay in shape to continue to guide us through this COVID infection or pandemic. And be assured also that the Deputy Prime Minister is likewise well.
A significant number of individuals are in quarantine as health officials continue to monitor their movements with the assistance of the newly established COVID-19 Enforcement Unit. Lloyd Island spoke to Deputy Chief Medical Officer Dr. DeLon Brennan about the quarantine process.
What happens in our workplaces is there are often persons who have been exposed on the outside in maybe a social setting or in their family setting, that then most of them not knowingly will come to work, and then they get diagnosed at some point later with the disease. And what that means is at that point, once they have been diagnosed, that we have to look at their contacts, and once we identify who their contacts would be, including at their jobs, we then have to inform persons that they may have been in contact, and confidentially, may have been in contact with an identified COVID-19 positive case, and we then suggest that they quarantine at home, or if they are unable to do it home, in another facility, for us to make sure that if they were to develop symptoms, they wouldn't then be exposing an additional group of people to it. When they are doing so at home, what it requires is they have to have a place where they can have their own bedroom, and they're not going to expose a bedmate or someone else, and ideally have their own bathroom. If their home meets that criteria and there's a caretaker who can bring them food and make sure that there are no other exposures, then it's okay for them to do so at home. However, if that is not possible, then the government does provide locations where we would be able to provide a number of people with the ability to isolate without exposing others outside of their home environment.
And keying into that idea of quarantine, we know that it's generally a 14-day period. During that time, are there any signs of worsening that a patient should look for?
Absolutely. So, one, we're going to stay in contact with those individuals, and as we've enhanced our contact tracing capacity, we're in contact with individuals on a daily basis. So we're asking them about those signs and symptoms, and of course that includes any signs or symptoms that would be suggestive of COVID-19. Those might include fever, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, muscle aches or pains, just generalized fatigue, vomiting, diarrhea, like any constellation of those symptoms, it would be important to let the contact tracing grouping know or your medical provider know, because at that point we would need to have you tested, because we would need to see if you are, because of that contact, you are now developing the disease of COVID-19.
And also, on Sunday, the Prime Minister spoke of deciding to contain conditions of restrictions in San Salvador because of a pending case. But we know that Inagua was given the go-ahead to operate generally with lesser restrictions. Talk to us about that pending case in San Salvador and also in Inagua. When did officials first learn of the case or possible case there?
So in the San Salvador case, that is still pending. We haven't received a result for that one yet, so can't really discuss too many details on that one. But the case in Inagua, there was an individual who was experiencing symptoms, and so that person was actually brought into the capital, so they're not actually in Inagua at present. So they came into New Providence, and they were able to be evaluated at the hospital, and upon evaluation, the decision was made to obtain COVID-19 testing, and it has now returned as positive. So because the person was resident on Inagua when they first started experiencing symptoms, that case is attributed to Inagua, even though the patient isn't currently on the island of Inagua right now.
Bahamas Power and Light has confirmed that a contractor at its Clifton Pier power station has been tested positive for COVID-19. The individual is currently at a government-run quarantine facility. BPL says it activated its response plan and began working with the Ministry of Health to identify persons that would have been in close contact with the individual. All persons identified as a close contact have been advised to quarantine and to contact the Ministry of Health for testing. The Clifton Pier facilities visited by the positive individual were also cleaned and sanitized. Also this morning, the Water and Sewerage Corporation closing its main administrative facility in the E. George Moss building on Thompson Boulevard for deep cleaning and sanitizing. The action comes after a staff member was potentially exposed to a relative who had been placed in quarantine as a precautionary measure. A statement indicated that no corporation staff has been tested positive for COVID-19. However, the corporation has fully enacted its COVID-19 response plan and has suspended part of its operations today. Those services include customer accounts, cashier's cage, human resources unit, engineering and planning, and the administrative unit. All other operations at the corporation will be open for normal business at its Somerset House on Blue Hills and Prospect Ridge. ZNS News has learned that the National Insurance Board headquarters is closed due to a confirmed case of COVID-19. NIB's headquarters is expected to reopen tomorrow. We understand that NIB employees were alerted of the closure in an email yesterday. NIB officials say persons can still collect checks and receive assistance from the National Stadium. The Ministry of Public Works on John F. Kennedy Drive will also be closed beginning today for deep cleaning. However, the Department of Physical Planning and Bahama Mix will remain open during the usual operating hours. The Ministry of Works will reopen to the public on Monday, August 17th. The competent authority issued an updated version of the Emergency Powers COVID-19 Pandemic Lockdown Amendment No. 3 order. It states that the National Insurance Board will be open to the general public to distribute checks on Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. For essential workers only, grocery stores will open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Water Depot, gas stations, and pharmacies will operate 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. A counsel or attorney can work remotely from home and can visit his office only to collect files and other necessary items to work from home. Wholesale bakeries, gas stations, water depots, and hardware stores can restock on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., and wholesale and retail grocery stores can restock on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. The amended order also allows grocery stores on Grand Bahama to operate from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And still to come, Royal Caribbean announcing that COVID-19 testing for its guests will be required. That and more when the morning edition comes. We're right back.
Hi, welcome to Dream Girls. We offer a wide variety of hair care, and your everyday beauty needs.
Here at Dream Girls, we carry a wide variety of products for natural or relaxed hair, such as ORS, Care, and Shea Moisture. We also carry a large selection of weaving, braiding, and crochet hair. You can expect to find a private wig room, a large variety of products, and service with a smile. Whether you're shopping for a party, a corporate event, or your everyday working woman, Dream Girls can make your dream become a reality. Live your dream, experience your dream, Dream Girls.
We have 3 convenient locations to serve you: Village Road Shopping Center, Prince Charles Shopping Center, and Legacy Plaza located on Prince Charles next to BTC Cash and Go. Here at Dream Girls, enhancing beauty becomes your reality.
Bahamas International Securities Exchange executives claim the time has come to accept that the country is experiencing the initial phase of a recession, and there are some redundancies that are unavoidable. These described as contingencies against the economic uncertainty from COVID-19. But despite this grim projection, they say while tourism will return, diversification will be the key to long-term sustainability.
Do we have those jobs that aren't going to come back in the Bahamas? Absolutely. That's reality. I think the government is taking strides now and looking at ways to repurpose, redirect, and look inward to doing things. And I think that may be an avenue that we really need to consider, because if COVID has taught you nothing, is that you better take care of your own backyard.
Listen, I'm not sure if it'll happen in my lifetime, but what we really need to do is find ways to diversify away from tourism. Tourism will come back. It will. But yeah, we need to work on those other parts of our economy that can supplement it and, at least take off some of that workforce. And that's my hope for long-term for the Bahamas.
Grant and Davies offer some critical advice to businesses as a means to service the shock of COVID-19.
It's also good if you're a business to be taking a very deep look at your accounts receivables, seeing where that money's owed, and giving it a really, you need to give it an intense look at what's really the collectability of some of these accounts receivables now.
The traditional brick and mortar companies have had to pivot. And I speak to them all the time. They're having a hard time. And some may not survive, because the shock may be too much for them to change. And if they do survive, they're going to have to come out of this doing things differently. So right now, companies are switching to digital platforms that don't require all this office space. In fact, the office space you have now is a burden because you still got to pay for it.
While U.S.-based affiliates of the Cruise Lines International Association have once again agreed to voluntarily postpone their sail dates, Royal Caribbean International officials are thinking beyond that October 31st suspension, gearing up for what may be the new normal on the seas. Royal Caribbean CEO Michael Bailey announcing that COVID-19 testing for its guests will be likely required as it hopes to set sail sometime again soon. And for the Bahamian cruise industry, this means a direct adherence to COVID-19 travel restrictions as Royal Caribbean operates here in the Bahamas. Many families continue to be affected by the financial and emotional implications of the pandemic and lockdowns. Since early March, the Reach Out Ministry has been distributing food items and groceries throughout various communities over in Grand Bahama. According to President of Reach Out Ministry, Dudley Seed, the demand for food items has increased.
Taking a strain on our organization, so I'm making an appeal to the wider corporate Grand Bahama who still could help. We are needing some assistance to continue to help families here in Grand Bahama. What is so heart-wrenching for me is, when someone comes and I can't help, I think that's one of the difficult things that I go through. People come here all day looking for assistance. We also go to homes, deal with persons who are in wheelchairs to assist them. But it's taking a strain on us. Right now, our cupboard is low. but we need some help just to continue our work here in Grand Bahama. We help also with the coupons, but the thing about it is folks who don't have no coupon, when they come here to the center looking for coupon, then we have to end up giving them grocery items. We are blessed that we made it this far, but I'm still asking, the wider community just to step in and assist us so we can continue our work here in Grand Bahama.
The retail center is also being used as one of the locations for the National Food Distribution Task Force program. Said shares his thoughts about the government possibly allowing the center to open Monday through Friday for residents that may be able to collect food vouchers.
The food is something that everybody needs. It's heart-wrenching to me, just to see mothers coming to you crying with tears in their eyes, say, hey, I need you guys to assist because I'm hungry. And when you see men asking for food, then you know that we all need to step up and help. But I think I'm sending a message to the wider community of Grand Bahama and in the Bahamas. We need to continue to help our neighbors, help each other. And this too shall pass. But I think our message should be hope. The people should understand that God is with them. God will never leave them or forsake them. But this is some unusual time in our life. But we just got to just hold on to God.
A $1 million per week allocation to the National Food Distribution Task Force going to good use as Family Island Center's non-government and charitable organizations continue to distribute resources to the most vulnerable. Among the islands receiving the much-needed food assistance is Abaco, which was hit hard by Hurricane Dorian and now COVID-19. North Abaco Administrator Therese Boodle-Lang.
So we have a clearly established network that utilizes the government system, and they have been utilizing it fully in that each community there is, for even if serving one community distribution centers, and you see the distribution weekly, and the persons in these centers, near former volunteers, are working very hard, extremely hard, to push the food supplies out. They have the persons registered. They know who is in their community, and they have been serving those communities now consistently from the distribution started, and we're pleased with the way it is going.
The Moonlight Diner has hit the Carmichael area across from the St. Gregory's Anglican Church and is expected to open its doors once COVID-19 gets under control. The morning team caught up with the owners of this new business venture to find out about the concept, what's on the menu, and what customers can look forward to while dining under the moonlight. Take a look.
We took the engine out and with the hood, and we went and got another bus. And now, as you look at it, it's more like a caboose of a train. It has two backs.
Before COVID-19 wreaked havoc on this country, businessman Cleety Hanna and his family purchased a dilapidated yellow school bus for a bargain and transformed it into a beautifully designed Moonlight Diner on wheels. With the catchy chicken logo attached and the name tag Moonlight Diner engraved on the outside, the inside is even more breathtaking as the concept can be compared to what's seen tucked away on the lawns of old-time movies. Hanna says with strict social distancing protocols, the unique way to dine will accommodate couples and families, but only 15 at a time.
Initially, the idea was to have it open like a 24-hour diner. However, right now, we can't get the hours for that, but it's something that we're going to work at. And we're going to be serving breakfast and lunch all day. Chicken and waffles, steak and eggs, and such like that all day. So to serve. And we're going to go for breakfast until all night. So that's what we're trying to do.
But Cleety says with the lingering fears over COVID-19, there are many alternative options customers can consider to dine under the moonlight.
We have this deck right here, and we also have a takeout. So as right now, because of the social distancing that we have to deal with, we're gonna facilitate mostly takeout initially, and then as we move on, we're gonna take it from there. We're gonna have fast food. Well, it's not fast food, but it's good food served fast. Everything's gonna be freshly cooked. What they do is have a screen out, just so we can play play movies, you know, for people passing by or people just going to come and sit and watch old movies and stuff like that. And the type of music we're going to play is all Bahamian music. So we're here and we're Bahamian, so that's what we want to do. We're going to cater to our people.
Hannah remains hopeful, though, that once the curfews and lockdowns are lifted, they can offer fine cuisine to all Bahamians up until midnight.
Well, it's a busy start to your Wednesday morning. A sanitation vehicle causing some disruption to some utility lines near the area of Palm Tree Avenue and Market Street on the other side of the break. A look at your overnight traffic as well as what drivers need to know when it comes to braking distance.
Hi, I'm Dr. Pinder. During this global pandemic, we ask for you to be responsible. As we fight the COVID-19 virus together, we would like to encourage you to do the following. Wash your hands. Cover your mouth and nose with a flex elbow or tissue when coughing and sneezing. Practice social distancing by staying 6 feet apart. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, and if you must go out, wear a mask. We stay here for you. Please stay home for us. To those of you on the front line, we salute you as we continue this fight together.
This message has been brought to you by the Ministry of Health in conjunction with GD Media Solutions and this television station.
It's Wednesday, and many persons may be heading to the food stores and service stations this morning. Lloyd Allen and the morning traffic team is standing by on our streets.
The traffic report is sponsored by Bahamas First. First in insurance. Today, tomorrow.
Well, good morning again, LaDon. Good morning, Bahamas. We're giving you your first look at traffic. This one coming in from the area of Palm Tree Avenue and Market Street. This morning we're joined by Sergeant Crestania Johnson from the Royal Bahamas Police Force Traffic Division, giving you an initial look at overnight traffic.
Well, a pleasant good morning to you and a pleasant good morning, Bahamas. Well, up until the 24-hour period, we did not have any traffic accidents to report. But as of 7 a.m. this morning, we had 3 traffic accidents, one in the area of John Road and Blue Hill Road, the other in the area of Fire Trail Road and Jubilee Gardens, and the last one in the area of Carmichael Road near the Royal Bank of Canada. At this time, there are still 10 persons hospitalized as a result of being involved in a traffic accident.
And also this morning in this area, just a few moments ago, we noticed and observed a sanitation vehicle driving along, approaching the red traffic light. Unfortunately, some utility lines were taken down and businesses now affected. What advice can you now offer to our motorists, Officer Johnson, when it comes to braking distance?
Right off the top of my head, I can think of the fact that when you're driving, take into consideration the fact that if you are driving at increased speeds, your braking distance should now increase 3 times. So say, for example, you're traveling at 30 miles per hour and you want to brake, your braking distance should at least be about 3 vehicles. Okay, so when you're thinking about that distance, think about how long 3 vehicles, how the distance between 3 vehicles and your vehicle. So if, for example, you're traveling at 60 miles per hour, now your braking distance is going to increase. So now we're looking at 6 vehicles ahead of you, you should be braking. Okay, so at any time when it comes to braking distance, you want to be vigilant, pay attention to the street again, and make sure that you're at a distance where you can see that vehicle ahead of you.
And I can't help but to refer to my driving school days when I was in getting my driver's license. One of the things I was guided toward was that once you come to a complete stop and you look over your dashboard, that white line that indicates where you should stop at an intersection, you should be able to see that once you stop.
Yes, and speaking about the white line, that white line is so important because inclusive of the red traffic light, that white line, if you were to cross that white line, that is also a traffic offense. So crossing that white line, the number of drivers cross that line and they're not aware that coming across that line, that's a $250 fine. It's the same fine as if you were to cross that traffic light, but if the light is on red. So as much as possible, you want to maintain your braking distance. If you're coming to an intersection, you know you're going to have to stop. So from that point, you need to already start to initiate your brakes.
All right, so some great advice coming in there. And this morning we are reporting from Palm Tree Avenue and Market Street for the morning edition. Sergeant Johnson and Lloyd Allen for ZNS Network News.
Thanks a lot, Lloyd. Stay close. We've got more right after this. You're watching the morning edition.
It's a part of all our lives. ZNS TV is where we go for information, entertainment, and enjoyment. ZNS is there with something for everyone.
Kids, lunch is ready.
ZNS TV, a part of our lives for 40 years.
And it's time now for your early morning workout session with Downtown Natasha Brown.
Come on down, Natasha Brown has got you with the ultimate fitness.
Look for something positive today, even if today you have to look a little harder. Thank you for joining Downtown for another outdoor segment. Yes, we are on lockdown, but that doesn't mean that you can't do nothing. Go into your neighborhood and find anything that's available. I've got an awesome bench routine. Even if you don't have a bench in your area, you're welcome to still try this with no equipment, just you and your area. Remember, you're welcome to do the exercises 3 to 4 times until you've got the burn and you're satisfied with your output for today. Let's get right to it. I am Downtown Natasha Brown, taking you closer to becoming your ultimate you.
A weak surface trough across the northwest Bahamas will support showers and thunderstorms around the islands today as a persistent surface ridge of high pressure extends west, generating gentle to moderate winds. In all areas, weather partly sunny and hot today with a few scattered showers this afternoon and isolated thunderstorms. Weather becoming mainly fair tonight with passing showers possible. The high temperature today is 92 degrees and overnight low temperature tonight is 78 degrees. We thank you for continuing to make ZNS your #1 news and information network. Only the sun covers the Bahamas better than ZNS. And that's a wrap for us this morning. For the entire team, I'm LaDon Davis. Make it a great day and be safe.